This is session 12 of a multi-part presentation on how to develop mental and emotional fitness. As noted in earlier sessions, Dr. Ellis long ago developed a 5-step process for getting into the best possible cognitive and emotional place to make the healthiest and most rational behavioral or lifestyle choice. This session will offer a host of what Dr. Ellis called effective coping statements, things you could think or say out loud that would help you better cope or deal with things you didn't like and perhaps couldn't change. But first, a review of why change is hard. Everything we think, feel, say, or do is a product of connections or pathways made in our brain, between nerve cells in our brain. When we rehearse or practice a particular way of thinking, feeling, saying, and doing things, we wear down a pathway in our brains much as we would by walking the same way over and over again across a grassy field. Eventually, that pathway becomes what neuroscientists call a rut. Once such ruts are created, it becomes automatic to think, feel, say, or do things, to the exclusion of other things we could think, feel, say, or do. If that leads to healthy, rational, and functional thoughts, feelings, and actions, that's a good thing. We definitely want to be prone to repeat those. However, when it leads to unhealthy, irrational thoughts, feelings, or actions, it can make change hard. The problem is that once connections get made, they can't be broken. Once ruts are formed, they can't be eliminated. You can only make new ones. To think, feel, say, or do something differently, we have to first create a new connection or pathway for thinking, feeling, saying, and doing things differently. Then we need to rehearse and practice thinking, feeling, saying, and doing things that way so that we create a new rut. And the new way of thinking, feeling, saying, or doing things becomes automatic and can compete with our old ruts. One simple strategy is to create what's called a coping card that contains 3 to 5 coping statements you believe would help you cope or deal better with some recurring type of life event that you now disturb yourself over. Then, when that life event happens, you pull out that card and read those statements over and over again. The first set of effective coping statements I'm going to share are those we listed earlier to help you develop an internal locus of control. The first set of those reminds you of what your cognitive choices are. For example, it's my choice how I look at things. It's my choice what meaning I attach. It's my choice what I remember about the past. It's my choice what I focus on. It's my choice what I compare things to. It's my choice what I expect of myself, others, and life. It's my choice what I want to imagine will happen next. And finally, it's my choice how much importance I want to attach. And because of that, it's also logically true that it's my choice how I want to feel. Here are some other ways of thinking or talking out loud. No one upsets me, I upset myself. I'm responsible for how I feel, not them. Or the flip side would be they're not responsible for how I feel, I am. Or it's my job to make myself feel better, not theirs. Or the flip side of that would be it's not their job to make me feel better, it's mine. And finally, it's not their problem, it's mine. If I feel bad, or worse than I need to, it's my problem, not theirs. Next are some statements you could say to yourself out loud when you start thinking or telling yourself that you have to do something. Telling yourself that you have to do something creates unnecessary anxiety and stress. For example, no one makes me do anything. I don't have to do anything. I always have a choice. It's my choice what I want to do. I can do whatever I want to. What I do is totally up to me. Earlier we said that we also want to avoid taking unnecessary responsibility for how others make themselves feel. Here are some statements to help you do that. It's their choice how they want to look at things. It's their choice what meaning they attach. It's their choice what they want to remember about the past. It's their choice what they want to focus on. It's their choice what they want to compare things to. It's their choice what they want to expect of themselves, others, and life. It's their choice what they want to imagine will happen next. And finally, it's their choice how much importance they want to attach to what does happen. And logically, it's also true that it's their choice how they want to feel, for the same reason as our choice how we want to feel. And here are some other ways to help remind yourself to not take unnecessary responsibility for how others make themselves feel. No one upsets them, they upset themselves. They're responsible for how they feel, not me. I'm not responsible for how they feel, they are. It's their job to make themselves feel better, not mine. It's not my job to make them feel better, it's theirs. It's not my problem if they do feel bad or make themselves feel bad, it's theirs. It's their problem, not mine. And if someone else were to blame you for having to do something they didn't like, you could use this set of statements. No one makes them do anything. They don't have to do anything. They always have a choice, just like I do. It's their choice what they want to do. They can do whatever they want to. What they do is totally up to them. One of the ways we disturb ourselves unnecessarily is to make demands of ourselves and then label and damn ourselves when we don't live up to our own demands or expectations. These are some things you could say to ourselves instead. For example, I can only do so much. I don't have to be perfect. Whatever I do is good enough. I did the best I could at the time or under the circumstances. What I did was understandable. I'm not the first. It won't be the last. I'm just a fallible human being. Everyone makes mistakes. It's nothing to be ashamed of, and it won't help to beat up on myself. The way we make ourselves unnecessarily angry is to make demands of others that don't get met and then label and damn them when they don't meet or live up to our demands or expectations. These are some things we could say to ourselves or out loud instead. They can only do so much. They don't have to be perfect. Whatever they do is good enough. They did the best they could at the time. What they did was understandable. They're not the first and won't be the last to do that. They're just a fallible human being. Everyone makes mistakes. The only person I control is me. I don't control what others think, feel, say, or do. We can depress ourselves by making demands of life, by demanding that life be different, better, easier, and more pleasant, comfortable, and convenient than it is. These are some things we could say to ourselves or out loud instead. It doesn't have to be fair. It doesn't have to be easy. Life isn't always fair. No one owes me anything. I won't always get what I want. I'd like that, but I don't need it. I don't have to like what happens to me. Happiness is wanting what you have, not getting what you want, and that's why they call it work. As noted earlier, Dr. Ellis contended that one of the 4 basic types of irrational thinking is to awfulize, to convince ourselves that something is not just simply unpleasant, inconvenient, or uncomfortable, as so many things in life are to some degree, but that what happened, or that might, is the worst possible thing that could happen, as in the end of the world type awful. Here are some things we could tell ourselves or say out loud instead of awfulizing. It's not awful, it's just unpleasant. It's not awful, it's just inconvenient. It's not awful, it's just uncomfortable. It's not the end of the world, just one of those things. It's not that big a deal. It really doesn't matter. It's over and done with. It could always be a lot worse. And finally, Dr. Ellis also said that another mistake we make is to tell ourselves we literally can't stand something we simply don't like. These are some things we could tell ourselves or say out loud instead of needlessly inflaming ourselves emotionally by telling ourselves we can't stand something we simply don't like. I'll survive no matter what. I've survived worse than this. If others can take it, so can I. I can take anything they dish out. I don't like it, but I can live with it. I won't die just because of that. It'll be over before I know it. This too shall pass. Learn to bend so you won't have to break. And finally, what doesn't kill me makes me stronger. As always, you can read more about this at itsjustanevent.com or in the book It's Just an Event, It's Your Choice How You Want to Feel by Ray Mathis. That book is available at amazon.com, at www.itsjustanevent.com, at publishamerica.com, online bookstore.